I agree with you that everything in life is a learning lesson, the good and the bad. And that as long as your attitude is correct and you watch what your thoughts are and you guide your emotions because of that and become happy and don't let the bad shit hurt you. And the way you do that is change the record. Whenever you think a negative thought about the bad stuff, you change the record to a happy thought, and then you're in happiness, even though something bad just happened to you.
Welcome back to the Massive Passive Cash Flow Podcast. I'm Gary Wilson, your host. I'm so glad to have you back listening to the show or watching. If you're doing that in recorded mode, that's wonderful too. You guys get the video that way. We have a great guest today, Wayne Seminoff from beautiful Northwest. We call it Northwest Territory, i.e. Puget Sound, Seattle. Gig Harbor, if you've ever been there, we were just talking about that. For those of you listening, quick little plug for Gig Harbor. If you've never been there, don't go, because Wayne and I want to keep it secret. No, just kidding. So definitely, it's one of the most amazing little places you'll ever see, folks. Wonderful people, wonderful views, a little harbor seal that will befriend you if you're on a kayak or a paddleboard. You have to go to see it. So in any case, Wayne, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you, and I've been reading up about you, and I'm just so excited to have you as a guest on the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Well, I appreciate that. And now, if you wouldn't mind, I always like to start off at the beginning. And it's you can go back as far as you want, but typically what we're looking for is like a tipping point. Maybe you were in your 30s or 40s and you realize, wait a minute, you're going the wrong way. Your grandfather in his last wish for you told you something that changed your life. Anything like that you can point back to as a tipping point for you that got you involved in business. And we'll talk about some other things you're doing too that'll really light people up a little bit.
Well, there's 2 points. One is when I was just graduated from Berkeley in California, I got a job immediately afterwards because I was out of money, and I worked at a blood bag factory in over by the water in Berkeley, and we made blood bags, and my job was to load the blood bags into the sterilizer, and there was 40 women and me, and I thought, that'd be great. Turned out to be a nightmare. Working with 40 women will drive you crazy. So that's one lesson I learned. But the big lesson I learned is that I'd work all week and I'd be so exhausted on Friday night, I'd sleep all day Saturday and kind of recoup a little bit on Sunday, and it'd start all over again. And all I had was, I made minimum wage. I made a small wage. And I did that for like a month or so. And I said, I can't live my life like this. Is ridiculous. Just you end up with nothing. And so that was one big lesson, that I'm not going to do a dead end job anywhere the rest of my life. Okay. Then the second big lesson was I decided to be a real estate agent, commercial real estate agent in Bellevue. And I sold my first property, which is right in downtown Bellevue. And it's comparable today, probably maybe about a $5 million property or something like that. And I was looking for my commission, what my commission would be. And when everybody took their slice, all my bosses and all their buddies and who knows what, I ended up with like 1% of the money. I think I ended up with maybe 10 grand, 10 grand for working my ass off and being the guy who did the whole thing,
Yeah.
And I looked at the payout statement and I saw that the owner got 95% of the money. Okay. Wow. And then we all fought over the remaining 5% because that was our commission for the whole company. Yeah. And I said, from now on, I'm going to be the owner, not the grunt on the fighting for 5%. And that was a huge learning lesson. So then I decided I'm just going to go out and buy property. I didn't have any money, but I looked around to find out where I could buy any property I had $100. And I found at the tax sales in Washington, you could buy properties in that year for $100.
Wow.
So I went and I bought my first property, a junk piece of property, for $100. And then I figured I'm just going to work my ass off, figure out how to make this junk piece worth a lot of money. And I went to the planning department of the city and I said, I've got this piece of junk and how do I had no idea. And they taught me all these little rules. Over the years, they taught me 7 rules on how to make junk land make it extremely valuable by allowing it to be buildable. Once they say it's buildable, it's the multiplier is 100, 200, 300, 400 times your money.
Okay.
And to illustrate that point, Last year, I bought a property for $1,000 in Issaquah, which is a really nice area, in the very highest ranked piece of residential property in the city. It's right by the freeway and right across the street from a shopping center, and it's a half acre, flat, relatively flat, with access to the road, water, sewer, and power. It's a perfect lot. Nothing's wrong with it. And I called the guy up before the tax sale, and I said, "Why are you letting it go in the tax sale?" And he says, "Well, we tried to give it to the city and they wouldn't take it because the title's all screwed up." And I said, I knew one of my techniques is clearing title. I know how to do that. I can do it in an eye blink. So I said, well, I'll buy it from you. He said, "Well, how much?" I said, "I'll give you $500 for it." He said, "What do you think? I'm crazy or something?" I said, "Well, how much do you want for it?" He says, "Well, I got to split it with my sister. So you make it 1,000 and it's yours." So I said, "Okay," we made a deal. I sent him $1,000 on Venmo, sent him the deed. He signed it, sent it back. So in 5 days, I owned that property for $1,000. Now, market value of that lot is $500,000. You know, if it's legal. Then I went to my attorney and I said, "I'll do a quiet title." Told him how to do it. In 90 days, I had clear title because you have to serve everybody in the universe. And at that point, that property became worth $500,000. Okay, my total output at that point, I put $1,000 to buy it, and I paid my attorney $15,000. So for $16,000, I owed a $500,000. Then I went to the city. I said, "Can I make it into 2 lots?" They said yes. So I did a short plat that cost me another $12,000, and the short plat was just completed. So now each lot is worth $500 a piece, and I'm in it for about 30, 40,000. It's worth $1 million.
Yeah,
and that's $1,000. Yeah, but that's not uncommon. I do this continually by buying properties like that, and once you make them legal, the multipliers are gigantic. Yeah. And typically at every sale, I typically buy maybe 1 or 2 properties out of each sale, and the sale list comes out once a year. So this is a great alternative to the guy who has a dead end job and he's working just to pay the bills, has nothing left when the bill, at the end of the month, like I used to have. And I could never have enough money to pay my bills. And this way you can have a side gig, do it as a hobby, not as a business, it's a hobby. And you do your regular job and then just do this on the side because the tax only comes up once a year. And you do a little bit of work and then you sort of nurture that property. You go to the city and talk to them and say, "How do I make it buildable?" And actually what I did is I wrote a book and it's called Junk Land into Gold. And it's got 7 points that change junk land into gold. And there's 7 ways to do it. Let's see, I'll show you in this book. It's got 7 ways that you can make junk land into gold. And they're really cool. I mean, it's like, for example, you can buy a landlocked piece of property. Okay. You buy the property, it's behind some guy's house. Nobody else owns it. Some third party owns it. So you buy it at the tax sale or before the sale. And then you go to the guy in front and you say, let's say this property is worth $400,000 if it's buildable and accessible. You go to the neighbor in the front and you say, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you $200,000 if you let me put a driveway on the side of your property to this property in the back." If the guy says yes, you do an easement, write an easement, record it, costs you nothing. And you put it on the market, you sell it for $400,000, you give him $200 and you take $200, your total out of pocket is $1,000. Yeah. And this is stupid simple. It's so simple. It's so easy to do. Now all you have to do is look for landlocked properties in your neighborhood and you just get a big map of all the properties around you or in your city. And you look for properties that are landlocked and you make sure that they're not owned by anybody who surrounds it. So they're touching it. So you know that it's a third party. And then you contact those guys. They can't build on it because if they could, they would. And they didn't. So that's basically, I call them stupid, simple techniques that anybody could do to make a lot of money off a piece of real estate. And you can also do it with properties that don't perk. Like on the remote areas of the city, we have 5-acre parcels, really beautiful big parcels and worth a lot. Same thing. You buy a property that doesn't perk, and you for whatever, say a couple thousand, And then you go to the neighbor and you say, if I can put my drain field on your lot, I'll give you half of this 500,000 lot soon as I sell it. So you give that guy $250,000 once you sell your property. And again, your out of pocket is $1,000 or whatever you paid for it, $2,000. And you made, 200 grand off $1,000 investment. And that's so dramatically better than anything else a regular guy can do,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just killer dramatic.
You don't need a team of people. You don't need there's no payroll tax. There's no disability, unemployment tax. There's none of that stuff. You can do that yourself,
Yeah. And if anybody wants to buy you can buy this program for $500 online. It's got 2 books and 50 videos. It took me 3 years to put them together. And I put all my knowledge about real estate in this program. And this is a gift to the universe because my real estate guy told me, Wayne, don't share all your hidden techniques with everybody. And I go, well, I've changed. I'm just going to give it all away. It cost me more than the $500 to make the program. But anyways, it's called junklandintogold.com.
Junkland into gold. Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Junklandintogold.com. And but that's part of it. The other part is, if you can be rich, you have to be happy too. Because if you're not happy, it's not worth it. You can be rich and unhappy. So what I did is I developed a program, very simple little things to make you happy every day, so that when you're making a lot of money, you can be happy. And also you make more money when you're happier because people sense where you're coming from and they want to do business with you. And so what I did is I put together, these are all my sites that help people be happier. And the first one, it's you can practice being love energy every day, and with a 1-minute meditation in the morning. 1 minute. All it takes is 1 minute, not this, contemplate your navel for an hour. Just 1 minute, and you just do this little trick. And when you do that, you can touch that all day long while you're working, and your happiness is dramatically better. And then
activate love energy.
Activateloveenergy.com.
Okay.
And, so that puts you in the love. I call it love. It could be called happiness, happy or love energy or laughing energy. Okay. The other one is people think themselves into a negative space, and they don't know that emotions come from the words you tell your brain. Before you feel an emotion, you say words to your brain. You say, I'm sad. Okay. And then you say, God, I feel sad. And you go, and you play, I call it a record. You play it over and over and over. I'm sad, I'm sad, I'm sad. And then you go, God, I'm really sad. So this teaches you to identify the word you say, flip them over to the happy words, and repeat. Whenever you see a sad word, you flip it, change the record to I'm happy, and I make a picture. I make a picture of the happiest thing I ever did in my life. And I use that picture and I keep flipping it over, and eventually you'll feel happy.
Okay.
And if you use that technique, you will never be unhappy. It works.
Yeah.
It works on brutally ugly, bad shit. When like when you're just getting a big fight with somebody, and the record's running really fast in your brain, and anger is anger.
Oh yeah.
And you can actually stop that. And if you do this technique in 20 minutes, if you're really in a really bad place, if you do this technique for 20 minutes, you'll be laughing your sides out in 20 minutes, and the bad thing will be gone. It really works.
Want to learn what's working right now in real estate? Then don't miss Monday Night Live, happening every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Each week, we bring you expert training on real estate investing, agent attraction, lead generation, marketing, and AI-powered strategies to help you work smarter and scale faster. You'll also hear inspiring success stories and lessons learned from some of the most successful real estate leaders and investors in the industry. Whether you're a brand new agent, a seasoned investor, or building a high-performing team, there's something valuable for you every single week. Learn, network, grow. Registration is completely free. Simply visit globalinvestoragent.com to reserve your seat for an upcoming Monday Night Live session. Join us this Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and discover strategies you can put to work right away. We can't wait to see you there.
Well, I agree. I know I was, years ago going through a divorce, it was one of the worst things I'd ever gone through at the time. It was worse than losing somebody who, passed away. My
Yeah.
opinion. But the thing is, well, we call it the stinking thinking. It just took over,
Yeah.
And finally, I realized I finally got, some help from a not therapy, but an actual, like a coach person I was working. She said, I'm going to show you some other things, Gary, I think will really help you. And I said, great. She was like voted #1 businesswoman in the United States or something. The things she showed me had nothing to do with business and everything to do with my mindset and my outlook and what was going on inside my spiritually. And
Yeah.
what was interesting is you have to really be careful what you say to yourself because yourself is listening.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
say it enough, it's going to believe it. So
Yeah. Right. That's exactly right. In fact, the words you say determine your entire emotional position at that instant. And that's all. It's as simple as that. And so you have to really watch whatever the words are you say to your brain, that you just keep an eye on them. I read this thing that said the smartest man in the world is the man who can actually see the words that are going in his brain that are determining his emotional status and his future. And so that's the smartest guy. So if you pay attention, or actually be like I do, I just work backwards. I have a feeling that feels bad, and I go, where'd that come from? Then I go back to what was the sentence I just said, and then I identify it, and then I watch for it popping up. It'll be running on a record, and then I switch over to the opposite of it. I'm instead of sad, I'm happy. Not only happy, but I make a picture of me being the happiest person I ever was, lying on the beach in Maui with the sun shining on me and the waves breaking and beautiful women around me. It just I make this gorgeous, beautiful, happy picture, and it works. It works.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got another one for you too.
Okay.
A lot of people live in fear, and they're motivated by fear, and that's a huge disease we all have right now. And this is how you can get over that. It's stupid simple. Again, if you see the future was perfect, if you actually say the future was perfect, envision that the future took place and it was perfect, and you're back here again, you'll feel dramatically happier. It's unbelievable, but it works. It's stupid simple. If you say it, you say the words to your brain. The future was perfect. That's your record. That creates the sense of happiness right now. Whether it was or not, doesn't matter. Even if it's wrong, you win because you're automatically feeling happier. You say the future was perfect. That's the record you play in your brain. And then override any fear thing about nuclear war and all that other stuff.
Now, is that so the first one was activateloveenergy.com.
Right.
And I think the next one was activatehappinessnow.com.
Yeah, that's the record one. That's the record one.
Gotcha. And then the future was perfect. Is that the futurewasperfect.com?
Yes.
Excellent.
And then the last two are Ask Wayne Anything because I know everything.
Okay.
No, I'm 83. I know a lot about everything. I mean, really, it's unbelievable. And the last one is how to make money, junk land into gold. And so if you do all of them together, your whole life will dramatically improve. Dramatically. You go from a shitstorm to pure happiness. It's unbelievable. It's, and I teach this, and I've taught a lot of people this stuff, and it's just unbelievable how their lives have changed. Had this one guy as one of my business partners. He came his way, and I'm in this killer divorce. The police are at my house. They're trying to arrest me. And the in-laws are there. They want to kill me. The kids hate me. The wife wants to get rid of me. And I sat down to him. I said, well, what records are you playing in your brain? What was the word? Yeah. And we determined it was just one sentence that he said to himself, which caused all the anguish. It was something that had to do with, well, I deserve this. I'm getting disrespected. And because I'm disrespected, that gives me the right to be an asshole, Yeah. And I said, well, let's change that record. And we changed it to the opposite of that. And we practiced it for like an hour or so and got it down. And within a week, things started calming down. Within a month, his wife was back with him. Within 2 months, his wife and his kids loved him. And it's been like 6 months now. His wife and him are playing soccer together, joined their soccer team. His kids play baseball with him every day. And I say, are you using this technique? He says, I use it every day and it works. And all it was changing one sentence in his brain, changed his whole life. That one sentence. It's so valuable. It's invaluable. It didn't have to do with weird shit. All you had to do is recognize when he's saying the wrong sentence, flip it over to the right sentence, and his whole life changed. Whole life.
Yeah.
And his whole emotional output. And he's a happy man now, and his family's happy, and the kids are happy.
Yeah.
One sentence. So I call it change the record. I started a new site. It's called changetherecords.com. It's the same site, but it just has a different ID. Change the records with an S on it. And
it's amazing he went from starting off saying I'm being disrespected. It really has two key words: is I am, and then be. I'm being, and if whatever you put after that, makes a huge difference. Because if you're going to put in there, I'm being disrespected, that's how you're going to feel, and you're going to act that way. You're going to act like you're being disrespected. And guess what? Probably chances are more people will disrespect you.
Right.
You're perceived, And if you change it, I am happy. I am grateful. I'm loving, or I'm loved. That's what you're going to experience. It's not magic. I wish I could tell you. I'm not a psychiatrist. I wish I could tell how it works. I don't understand how it works. I just know that it does work. I'm just like, thank you, Lord. Whenever things like that happen, I'm just grateful for it. So, in any case, I really appreciate you sharing that. So the book was Junk Land into Gold, and there's a website, Junk Land into Gold too. That goes. Now, do they have to go to the website to get the book? Can they get the book on Amazon, or where's the?
You can get it on Amazon, but basically you should just get the program. You get the books and the 50 videos. And you got to put in the code FUN, F-U-N, because online it's $1,000, and you put FUN in there, and then it's half price. And you get 2 books. You get this one here. This is the Junkland to Go. This tells you how to fix it. And this book here is called Junkland. This is how to buy it at the tax sale. Exactly what to say to the sellers, what to say to the city guys. These are the exact words. So this is the ABC. This is the grunt stuff, And this is the magic, and this is the getting it done. Where you actually do it.
Okay. No, in those books, do you also have references to the other websites like Activate Love Energy, Activate Happiness? Are those referenced in either of those?
No, they're not referenced in there. I keep they've been separate. I've been separate.
Gotcha.
But I've got a new book I'm just finishing. This Activate Love Energy.
Well, there you go.
I haven't published it yet, but it's just I'm cooking. It's just got it finished up.
Well, it looks like you had the watermark across there when you're doing when you get an author sample.
Yeah, this is a sample from this is my sample rough draft one. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be on Amazon too. Activate Love Energy. I might even just give this one away. I don't think I'm going to sell it. So. Yeah. I want to see people be happy. My main goal is not to make money; is to make people happy. Smart and happy, and rich. Smart, happy, and rich. If I can do that, I've achieved my goal. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is it is all about mindset. So if you have a poor mindset and you don't have any money, you're broke, it's probably because you have a poor mindset. Being broke is a condition of your pocket. It's a temporary condition of the pocket. That's being broke. Being poor is a condition of the mind. So if you change your mindset through proper education and good self-talk, you'll probably find yourself not being so stressed out over money. Probably being a good custodian for that resource that you have, whether it's $1 or $1 million, just learn to be responsible for it. Then lo and behold, if you're blessed with a windfall, you follow, for everybody listening, you follow Wayne's instructions and you buy a piece of junk land that nobody else is paying attention to, doesn't know what to do with, and you do, take advantage of it, and you're rewarded for that. And you've, prior to that, adjusted your mindset. We particularly used to call it the stinking thinking. But you'll find yourself being a better custodian with the money. It's a resource, just like gasoline is a resource, food is a resource, trees are a resource. So it's like your physical body and your car. You take care of your car, you take care of your house, why not learn how to take care of your money? And it all starts with your mindset. If you have a positive mindset, you'll likely find yourself getting more positive results. And all of a sudden, miraculously, money no longer becomes the goal. It's just another measurement of how well you've done, who you've become as a person to be able to have that kind of money. That's really what it can. If I wish I could put that in some kind of a bottle, Wayne, and package it up and that sounded good because when it was coming out, it sounded good, But does that make sense? Has that sort of been your experience too? Your relationship to money?
Yes, this is what happens if you really get there, and you're in love energy all day long, and you're just feeling really happy, and you're seeing your thoughts, and you're watching, making sure you don't say anything bad to your brain. Your business life becomes crazy successful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like the gods are giving you a gift for just doing the right thing. If you do the right thing for you, you actually do it for the universe because it spread. Your energy spreads out everywhere, and you get rewarded, and you really get these huge gifts that you would never expect, and it's a real deal. And if you're going towards money, you get a lot of money. If you're going towards love, you get a lot. Whatever you wish in your life that you want to get becomes super abundant. And it's all a matter of being in the right space, and I practice all the time, and it really works, it really works. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm living proof, and I'm sure we were speaking about this earlier, but a lot of people will go through some period in their life, maybe multiple times, where everything is being removed for you. You're giving things away, whatever. Everything is lost. And you're starting over again. Whatever the external circumstances are, really, that's just necessary information. But the reality is those are learning opportunities. And what happens is every time you go through one of those phases and you start over, you're getting a brand new canvas, brand new buckets of paint. You choose all the paints, whatever you want. Paintbrushes, you can paint any picture you want, And when you come from abundance, you're going to live abundantly no matter what your actual material circumstances are. Abundance is really your outlook. I mean, if you just look around outdoors, even if you live in the city, you never notice how many trees and plants are actually in a city. It's not like it's completely barren. It's not like New York City. The people say it's all concrete. The streets are like, look to the top of the Empire State Building and look around at all the rooftops. Look at how many plants are there, gardens and trees and things like that. Life finds a way. You just got to recognize it. Be open to it. Be present, and look for the good in everything. It's going to happen. Divorce is horrible. And this is my personal theme today, divorce. But the thing is you're going to really rediscover yourself because you give of yourself to the marriage. Your identity becomes, is tied into the marriage. You're single again. Like you got to rediscover the old you. It's still the same person. You're just more educated now and wiser and hopefully have a better outlook on life and realize you've got an opportunity here to really paint the picture the way you want it. Be patient, be present, and be awake and aware. Look for when another person crosses your path and you're like, holy cow, that looks like the kind of person I've been dreaming of. Well, no kidding. That's the way the universe works, man. You put it out there and God answers. Not always exactly the way you think it should be, but on the right turn, his terms and his time. But it's always the right time. It's always the right terms. If you look back on it, you always find out in your life, everything that happened, in spite of how bad it was at the time, usually resulted in something even better coming along later. So, in any case, I feel like I appreciate
Yes. I agree with that. And I think I agree with you that everything in life is a learning lesson, the good and the bad. And that as long as your attitude is correct and you watch what your thoughts are and you guide your emotions because of that and become happy and don't let the bad shit hurt you. And the way you do that is change the record. Whenever you think a negative thought about the bad stuff, you change the record to a happy thought. And then you're in happiness, even though something bad just happened to you.
Yeah. What's one of the best things I ever learned, lessons I learned in life was going back to the horses. Instead of thinking hateful, angry thoughts like, an image of a buck running over your ex-spouse, that kind of stuff, you're never going to be at peace that way. You've got to change that in for your ex-spouse being at peace, him or herself. Because when you can wish peace on someone else and really mean it, you're going to be at peace. You have to be at peace to give peace. So just do the doing thing first, and the being part will follow naturally. It might take a couple repetitions. Like me, I'm kind of a thick-headed guy. I'm Irish, so this is a joke on Irish people, but their skull has been proven to be at least a quarter-inch thicker than everybody else's skull. So you got to use a 4x4 fighter head instead of a 2x4. But the lesson's still the same.
Yeah, the lesson's still the same. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something.
Okay.
All right. Well, wonderful.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, this has been a pleasure. I appreciate you sharing the gold nuggets and not just in the strategy of acquiring land that other people just walk past every single day, dramatically undervalued. People don't know what to do with it. And now you do, listeners, you have a great idea here from Wayne, right? And I suggest you use it. And at the same time, take them up on the other teachings. We gave you the websites, right? In fact, I'm going to give them to you again here. So hang on one second. So look for junklandintogold.com. That's one of the first things we talked about, Junkland into Gold, followed by Activate Love Energy. It's activateloveenergy.com. activatehappinessnow.com. The future was perfect. Let's just pay attention to those words. The future was perfect.com, and ask Wayne anything. So there you go. Wayne, any other final thoughts, words of wisdom you can leave people with?
No, but the key to this thing, life can be so much easier if you follow these things. It just improves your life dramatically. That's all. And you don't have to do it 100%. Just if you get one good thing from this, your life is better. So that's Absolutely. My goal.
Just step forward, get the momentum going there in the positive direction.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Wayne, for doing this, and thank you guys for listening to the podcast. If you could leave a review, because Wayne and I both appreciate your reviews. That's what makes the podcast world go around. I'll see you. Well, by the way, first off, in the meantime, take care of yourselves. God bless you and all your loved ones, and we will see you on the next Massive Passive Cash Flow podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Massive Passive Cash Flow. Be sure to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.